It's important to give yourself some victories. Be cooped up inside all day working on a painting, and then you see, oh, I've still got some time left, so you get a walk in. But it's also nice to have those parts that get you back into the real world. Hey everybody, we are doing a twofer today. I am sharing my latest painting sketch with gouache of a commission that I did for a friend, a little dog, and then I was cooped up inside for a few hours doing this, and I really needed to get out, and I still had some light, so I went and did a walk. So I figured I could talk to you while I do it and just bring up a few thoughts about daylight savings time, last night's eclipse maybe, and then talk about this painting, what it feels like to get back into painting with color after all that painting with coffee. And then last night I painted with wine for the first time, which is exciting. That'll be a video coming soon. But that's pretty much what today's video is going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's go. Getting a quick little walk in because I spent all day making this little painting of this sweet dog for a commission. It was a little one, a nice little pet sketch, and with everything I've been doing, I'm sharing this little process. It's just been a pleasant little Friday after the lunar eclipse. It is divine. Like the sky here is just that beautiful gray sky that I love, when all the green of the incoming spring and the outgoing winter is just vibrant and everything feels fresh. You can smell the fresh, wet earth. There are there's the faint scent of smoke from someone's chimney, which happens on a colder day. I just love it. You're having the dry colors go away. You're having the green colors come in. It's just really beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I have been enjoying this weather here. I can't believe I got this time in. I have to thank the time change. We had daylight savings last week, and as a result, we got a woodpecker up here. You probably can't hear him, but I hear him. And yeah, great. Anyways, I used to hate daylight savings like everybody else, but like some, I now appreciate it. I do love how much of the daylight I get. And I love how when I wake up at 4 a.m., it's still just pitch dark. It's much more exciting. I feel like I'm getting ahead of the day. It's a wonderful feeling. And then to just, be cooped up inside all day working on a painting, and then you see, oh, I've still got some time left. So you get a walk in, and you're off to the races. And then I get to go in and put all this together, and I've gotten a bit of this breathing in the woodlands, which is, I think, what the Japanese refer to as forest bathing, where you just kind of walk through the trees and you just get to feel nature. And it's very healing in ways that you're not even aware of after. It changes your day, it changes your week. It's very important. You just get all kinds of new ideas. You get closer to yourself. And just to think that I was just inside working on this painting of this sweet little dog, and I have to say it has been wonderful working on this little guy or gal. It's fun working with white pets, I think, because you find other colors in the fur. Same with black pets. I always enjoy what that just inevitably brings out. When you're using colors, I mean, there's plenty of times I just like to use like good old ink washes and things like that, but at that point you're just using black, so then it's just about the texture and lighting. But when you've got a color palette, things just get a little more emotionally interesting, I think. But it was also great working with reference too. And I definitely want to be doing more of that this year as well. It goes on the list of things that I want to do. But of course, you know, things inevitably come down to the eyes. And I have to say, I'm proud of how I just pushed through it today and how I did manage to take some deep breaks. I managed to get some things done and then start it on my own time. I managed to get this walk going. So it's important to give yourself some victories. And after this is done, there will be a few other things. And I believe this is a very powerful time because it's the day after the lunar eclipse, or I think so far it's still happening or something like that. At any rate, this is Friday, March 14th, so I guess it's a powerful time to meditate on the things you feel are important, the things you don't feel are important, to look at what or who you are worshiping that maybe you shouldn't be. False gods, I guess. They're very prevalent. The opportunity for the clarity of what those are in your life becomes bigger at this time. And it's a very real thing. And I've been feeling certainly like a whole bunch of things are just conglomerating in my life to just tell me, hey, it's very important that you focus on what's important. So I think tonight is going to be a great opportunity for that. But I feel that as I'm making this little painting, this little portrait of this little beloved animal, and I'm really having a joy of painting with gouache. I just have such an ongoing love affair with gouache. Once I figured out the things that make it special, namely that it has a nice opacity that acrylic has, but you can also rehydrate it and in some ways erase it. There's just something very freeing, I think, about gouache that is unique to it. All of them have their own strengths, but I think that gouache is in a category all its own. But I was thinking about, which I think any artist who is doing a portrait of a pet, whether it's their own or someone else's, feels this, which is the love that we have for these animals we keep. That this is three human beings combining for this piece. There's the one who's commissioning me and is just intending it as this wonderful friendly gift to the dog's owner. And then there's the dog's owner, and then there's the artist. And we as humans, as mammals, feel a need to express affection. And it takes three of us to do this for this little animal. I guess, you know, the animal is the muse of all three of us. It's the muse of the commissioner for the gift idea. And it's the muse of me in this case, the artist. And then it celebrates the kind of muse-like inspiration for love that this little animal gives the owner. So that's a beautiful thing. I guess some forms of ownership are just the highest value, the highest virtue, which is just a beautiful thing when you think about it. But there's something very haunting, I think, when you're doing a portrait of an animal, because you are doing something that is truly innocent, and you're catching that. Sometimes you catch an innocence in a portrait of a person, but an animal always has that. And it's something very beautiful to experience and capture. And it's so much fun to play with all the varieties of fur, especially when you're doing either white fur or black fur, because if you're using color, you're going to find all kinds of color in those, which I think is something really special. And that was certainly the case with this one. As you can see, there's white, there's gold, there's definitely a bit of burnt umber. But I realized it had been so long since I had used these colors that some of them wouldn't even come out of the tube when I was squeezing it. So I basically, but this is the great thing with gouache, is I could just I could just take a brush with a little water and just keep getting the tip of that tube there. And I was just like rehydrating it, because the inside is just totally dry. But with gouache, you could just cut open the tube, and then you've got a whole bunch of burnt umber, or raw umber, I think it was. So that, I had been painting with wine before, which I just did for the first time last night, and then painting with coffee, and then just going to gouache again. It's just been wonderful to get back in color. But I tell you, man, multidisciplinary artist, sometimes it's intense. It's also an interesting wake-up call when you're doing things for this art project like I'm doing, and then you kind of switch gears for something else, but really good. I'm very happy to get that kind of extroverted enforcing. We all need that. It's not good, no matter who you are, to have everything going the way that you think is right, the way you think is good. I think it's important when you have those traumatic outside forces that get you back into, I think, the masculine. No matter who you are, I think the world, there's like this extroverted masculine side that teaches us the hard lessons of life, and that's best, I think, to always have to be back in that. It's great to have the intuition and the creativity and the calm and just all of those beautiful things, but it's also, whoa, look at this. But it's also nice to have those parts that get you back into the real world, you know? I mean, this goes without saying, but this is so beautiful. And then it's great to be able to just see this stuff here. All good things, all good things. So, I'm making this portrait of this dog. I did it pretty much all in a day. And, you know, I got to enjoy some literature on audiobook while I was doing it. These are the little things they're making. So many gifts in springtime, you know? It's really another... I'm profoundly grateful for this, that as Ghost in the Gaslight has progressed, and I keep challenging myself, and I'm doing my best to not stay complacent, and it has given me an appreciation for so many new ways of seeing life. When I first started Ghost in the Gaslight, it was because I was absolutely depressed to be living in Los Angeles. And I'd been coming from New York City. And so I made this art project around my bliss, which was old history, antiques, the countryside, and Halloween. And the particularly Halloween in the little East Coast towns that I used to experience. And as I've done it, and I've really leaned into those things, it started to create a satisfaction where I feel satisfied of that bliss that I was deprived of when I first moved to LA, which has been a really beautiful gift that just keeps yielding each year a little more each time. And we're at the point now where I like Halloween. I like these little Halloween fall customs, but it's part of the whole thing because I love winter. I love spring. Summer, but now I've realized that summer is the beginning of Halloween. I'm using this strictly as an American here because if I just go by the American holidays, then I've got four of these months of Halloween. Anyway, summer is not really my thing. And what I found was after 4th of July, so basically starting from 5th of July, you don't have any major American holiday until Halloween. And I think I was kind of onto this a couple years or 3 years ago. I realized that the innocence and love that I used to feel for Halloween when October 1st rolls around was actually coming around fall, and particularly when September 1st happens. And I would say, maybe kicking off Indian summer, though I'd say Indian summer is a little deep into September and through October. But then I was seeing, and this is partly due to, I think, some of the Gothic artists who lean way too Gothic, I think, for my taste. I think that Gothic art is very beautiful and it can really appreciate beauty. I think that the Gothic ghost storytellers of the 19th century really understood that. I think that, a lot of the Gothic stuff now is, I think it's just indulgent and it's not imaginative. The way that they're using black and horror movies. And I saw this wonderful video that Prince did, and he was talking about horror and he was saying his problems with it. And I don't have all the same problems, but he made a wonderful point. Cheers. That he was asking someone to describe a horror movie they went into, a scene, and the person described it, and he pretty much called the person out that, why were you able to describe that so well? And the person was a little befuddled, and then Prince points out, because it's with you. You went to that, and that horror, that terrible stuff that you described is a part of you now, forever. It'll just be with you. And that's some powerful stuff. So I have always felt Ghost in the Gaslight is more about haunting you than horror, even though I'm trafficking with werewolves and vampires and dark, menacing mermaids. But I'm also into romantic mermaids and love stories and fairies and kind werewolves or vampires caught in a moment of kindness or something like that. I had an old friend who I hadn't seen in years, and she saw my stuff and said, wow, I love this, it's so wholesome. I'm not sure how I felt about that, but I also felt like, well, wait, yeah, she gets it. And this is what I want to see more of. And I always wanted to see these creatures like embraced for their other sides. Because I think ultimately, and this is also the case in the filmmaking genre, the horror film festivals, those people are the most open-minded, thoughtful, smart, receiving, or receptive crowds in the entire industry. Because what makes a horror movie? Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street makes a horror movie, but so does the original Wolfman. So does the Babadook. So does Ghost. In a certain way. I mean, Ghost is a thriller, but Ghost these days could totally go into a horror film festival. And I feel like that's always why Ghost in the Gaslight really pulled me into it. It lets me go to a lot of places, and they don't have to be like just dark and gruesome. Sometimes I'm doing that, but it's more because I'm maybe influenced by the kind of work that M.R. James did, where there is something really subtle about what he's doing, and it allows you to really get into the storytelling. So I think that for everything that I've been doing, that's part of why this keeps me totally invested in it. I don't feel like I'm pigeonholed. I don't feel like I'm stuck in it, which is, I think, very important. Thanks for taking this little adventure with me. Great to get it while the light is out. Always a pleasure, my friends. And of course, if you would like more, feel free to check out some of the other videos. I'm really cropping up the vlog episodes here, which is very exciting, as well as check out the website. You can support me in the store as well as some good swag there, ghostinthegaslight.com. And then there's also my Substack if you want to read my ghost stories. That's been pretty exciting as well. I just started writing one for the lunar eclipse last night. It just all came out, and so that's going to be debuting very soon. Also, be sure to sign up to the Inbox of Curiosities, which is my email, which is a lot of fun, and that also enters you to win stuff, which is always great. Anyways, thank you for being here. Thanks for being in my life. Thanks for supporting the channel. It means so much to me. If you're able to share it with someone who you think might feel calmed by it or inspired, who knows, feel free. And of course, do leave me a comment. Always love to hear your thoughts. You guys are the best. Thank you. Take care, you beautiful haunted romantics.